Hello guys, mga kapwa kong api. Another portfolio update naman po tayo this April. So in my case right now, I've opened up recently BPI account. So I am transferring my ALFM from G funds to BPI. The reason for that is, mas gusto ko kasi ng direct na sa mismong source ng fund. This avoids yung mga third party things. Plus, I probably would use Gcash in something different. I also plan to get some stocks or invest in stocks as well as BPI Wealth in the future, which is why I'm transferring my funds into BPI. For now, waiting na lang ako ng settlement ng ALFM ko sa Gcash, and then I'll transfer all of my funds including yung dividends na na-earn ko into that specific fund. I am also up by around 0.34% sa investment ko sa Dragonfly. Well, honestly, that's pretty much down kasi I have been reinvesting all of my dividends sa Dragonfly. So I believe I'm down 1,000 pesos or so, like 5 to 10%. Still, I know nasa crisis mode pa tayo. Once everything rebounds, I believe natataas ang portfolio ko. Same thing with my Coins PH. I have been steadily uh, getting or investing in Bitcoin, specifically XRP, SUI, and cryptocurrency in general. Kasi again, I am thinking na magre-rebound siya as soon as matapos na ang gera sa Middle East. Well, at least I'm hoping. Most of the time I'm wrong, but if I am right, then good. Again, ang holdings ko naman is for the long term. I pretty much invest like within a 5 to 10 year horizon, so hindi ako masyado nagmamadali. Another win for me as well. I've reduced my debts from around 240,000 plus down to 232,000 essentially. I am also proud to say na the month of March have been my biggest dividend yet throughout my entire investment career. So I've earned 362 pesos and 98 cents, or let's say 363 pesos in general sa dividends ko. This is because I have invested majority of my shares sa Maynilad, which has given their dividends last March. And again, nagfo-focus ako sa A-REIT. Bumibili ako ng bumibili ng A-REIT while there's a crisis kasi I know na in the near future, well, I'm all about not just rebounds pero sa sustained na cash flow, which is why I focus majority of my investments sa REITs. And A-REIT and RCR are my major holdings. Yun yung mga pinakamalaki kong holdings pagdating sa REITs ko. And I'm hoping to add more of it during this crisis. I know bababa pa yan. Hindi pa kasi tapos yung crisis sa Middle East. So I'm hoping na pag bumaba siya, I'll add more and more. I'll probably liquidate some of my assets again. What I did last month is I sold Petron and Shell from my shares, and then I bought a REIT using that fund. Um, in my case, my long-term goal would be into the energy market. Kasi sooner or later, I mean, I'm hoping I'm wrong, but we are already in an energy crisis. So sooner or later, this country would most likely rely on renewable and clean energy. Again, that's the target of the government. So I'm thinking long term, and I'll be investing personally sa mga assets na ganun. Example na lang yan is si First Gen, si Ascen, si Aboitiz. Yan yung mga major plays ko for the future. Still, I'm well invested sa BPI, BDO, Jollibee. I know strong ang mga companies na yun, so I don't really panic. kahit na naka-crisis mode ngayon. Kasi I know, I mean, again, majority of the time I'm wrong, but in my own perspective, I believe they will bounce back. And when they do, of course, kasama ako sa paglipad nila. Going into crypto naman, we are currently consolidating. Nagkaroon ng upside nung nag-announce si Trump, if I'm not mistaken, or was it a downside? I don't dig too much into crypto. Si Bitcoin lang ang tinitignan ko madalas. Kasi pag lumipad si Bitcoin, for sure lilipad din yung other assets. Pero majority of the time again, si Bitcoin ang nauuna. In our case, we're back again to the 66,000 to 67,000 price range, which is again, nasa consolidation phase pa siya. I believe yung mga market makers, yung mga big investors, mga whales, is still waiting for the confirmation na tapos na nga ang gera. On our hours, syempre, green tayo. May pakonti-konting red. Pero sa day natin, red majority of the assets. Sa week naman, majority are up. I'm not sure what algo is. CM Surrender, yes, familiar. Dexy, not familiar with that. Si ZEC is up by 7.8%. Jupiter is up 11%. SHIB is up by 1.9%. Hell, si gold and silver are all or both going back up again after the crash the last time. So, nagkaroon ng crash last March. As you could see, starting March 10 up until March 26. Pero ngayon, nakakabawi-bawi na si gold. So, this is similar with silver. So, I believe this is a good time to enter the gold and the silver market. You could do that again through PDAX, through PXAG, or XAUD. That's through crypto markets. Pwede kayong gumamit ng kahit anumang crypto exchange na gusto nyo. As long as you have to make sure na safe siya. And I'm not promoting any crypto exchange, pero meron tayong mga links down below for the brokers and exchanges I use. If you're also curious about my previous portfolio, I'll link it up sa top right section ng page na to. Ng video na to, sorry. Pagdating naman sa dolyar, dollar is going up kasi peso is weakening as of the moment. I believe or I think na in the near future, aabot ang peso ng around 65 to 70 pesos each. So I wanna stack up on some USDT. That's again my plan. None of this, by the way, is a financial advice. Always do your own research before investing, keeping, buying, or selling any stock or crypto or coin or any asset at all. This is just my own opinion and what I'll be doing dahil dito. So in my case, kasi honestly, ang ekonomiya ng Pilipinas is slowing down. That means na mas mahinang piso kontra dolyar. And sa mga OFWs, this is a good news, but this is a bad news for the Filipino people. Kasi syempre, kung mababa ang piso kontra dolyar, tataas sa mga bilihin. Everything actually is going up right now, including yung prices ng mga bilihin natin. So let's check out some of the videos. Medyo marami-rami tayong update ngayon kasi I've been busy for the last few weeks. So let's check. This is one good news kasi if I'm not mistaken, inallow ng Iran or nagbigay na ng go signal ng Iran for the vessels going to the Philippines na magde-deliver ng oil na, I mean, non-hostile na sila towards those vessels na papuntang Pilipinas. So let's check this out for a bit.
The Philippines is seeking safe passage for its vessels in the Strait of Hormuz amid ongoing tensions in the Middle East. Foreign Affairs Secretary Maria Teresa Lazaro met with the Iranian ambassador to Manila, Youssef Esmailzadeh, to request that Iran designate the Philippines as a non-hostile country. The move aims to protect Filipino seafarers and secure the country's oil supply. The request comes as Iran partially closes the key shipping route, affecting global fuel deliveries and raising concerns over the Philippines' energy supply, which is now projected to last only until the end of June.
Yeah, with that again, uh, honestly speaking, meron naman kasi talagang sources ang Pilipinas. Example na lang yan si Malampaya and meron pang na-discover sa Mindanao. Honestly, I'm just not sure why sobrang focus nila sa imports coming from other countries. But, and this is a good news. And ito, nag-allow na nga sila. As you could see. Check out lang natin.
Magandang gabi po, Luzon.
Saan
Susunod
ba
pang
dito?
linggo, titindihin pa raw ng Amerika ang pag-atake sa Iran.
Tinanggihan ng Iran.
Yeah, cause ang sabi is um, Trump, meron kasi silang ceasefire, which is why umangat yung market. So, after nun, magdedeklara naman si Trump na atakihin niya yung buong Iran. Um, but again, this is not a good news for us. The only good news is nag-allow na, let's see, check natin yung news na yun. Saan ba to? And well, another price hike na naman most likely. Let's
na
see.
nagpaparga. Sobrang hindi katulad
Nasa telepono ni Secretary Teresa Lazaro, si Iranian Foreign Minister Said Abbas Araghchi. Tiniyak daw ni Araghchi na papayagan ng Iran ang pagdaan
See?
sa Strait of Hormuz ng
Which is again good. But I don't think na bababa ang presyo ng gas just because of that. Alam naman natin lahat na ang irarason lang ng mga oil company sa Pilipinas is yung binibenta nilang oil is yung pa yung reserba nila na binili on a higher price. Even if nagbaba na yung prices ng commodities globally, I don't think they would easily, nabababaan nila yung presyo nila in the next coming weeks. Probably magtaas pa nga to. Kasi nga tuloy-tuloy pa rin yung sigalot or yung away sa Middle East. Let's have another thing as well. Ito naman is about sa EVs. Right now kasi ang taas ng presyo ng gas. So majority of the people orders, syempre, EVs, electric vehicles. Which is not only good for the country, pero good pa rin para sa mga bulsa nila.
Amid rising fuel prices, more drivers are making the shift to electric. And for the country's top EV brand, BYD, the future isn't coming. It's already here. Our mobility correspondent, G. Baroga, has the details.
Panic buying is real. That's according to a social media post by BYD Cars Philippines.
And syempre, kung electric vehicles ang hanap ng mga tao, for sure, tataas naman ang energy market. So we're hoping na tama again ang hula ko or ang thesis ko na sooner or later magiging sobrang in demand ng renewable energy. Kasi as of right now, if I'm not mistaken, like 50%, 50 to 70% of the energy given to the Philippines is, or generated in the Philippines is mostly coal. Nakaapekto din dito yung pagtatapos ng prangkisa. Kung hindi ako nagkakamali nung kay SEC or Semirara. Well, andyan pa rin naman si Prime Infra na continuous na kumukuha ng like natural gas sa Malampaya plant. Still, sooner or later, we'll have another energy crisis. That's only what I think. I'm hoping I'm wrong, pero most likely ganun ang mangyayari kasi tumataas ang demand niya. Dumadami at dumadami ang taong nangangailangan ng energy. Electricity, to be exact.
Managing Director Bob Palanca, as fuel prices keep going up and more Filipinos look at electrified vehicles as a real option. In 2025, BYD sold over 26,000 units in the Philippines, a 446% jump year-on-year, making it the country's top-selling EV brand and its quote, strongest performance yet. Palanca also says more buyers are now choosing BYD over legacy brands. So with this momentum, is this what he meant during the BYD Southern Luzon Challenge?
Electric is not the future.
Probably. But, okay.
It is now.
Again, I'm thinking it's more or less. Pero kasi marami pa rin nag-iisip tungkol sa reliability ng electric vehicles, especially Chinese cars. So, marami pa rin skeptical. Majority of them are going hybrid, especially kay Toyota.
EVs are ready. Electrified mobility is now available. The market must embrace it in order for them to experience and feel immediate savings.
During the set challenge, BYD's DMI lineup had to deal with highways, city streets, and even rough patches. The 3-day drive from Manila
Well, isa lang naman kasi talagang naiisip kong magiging issue dito. It's just the charging stations. It's the infrastructure. Kasi as of now, I believe sa Metro Manila pa lang ang medyo marami-raming electric vehicle chargers. Sa Ortigas specifically, I've seen a couple sa Mega Mall, sa Shangri-La, sa BGC. I've seen Tesla slots or sa parking lots na charging stations. So I think that's going to be an issue.
to the Bicol region covered 687 kilometers without needing a single charge.
We've experienced the entire Philippine road condition, no, from very good roads, very excellent smooth highways to extremely rough conditions that I think each and every media was able to experience in different vehicles that we have brought here today.
Another highlight is the stopover of the Drive Electric Love Pinas campaign, a journey that has already taken BYD electric cars from the tip of Luzon all the way to Mindanao. For lead adventurer Will Dasovich, it's proof that range anxiety is no longer
Sana, again, may mga charging stations sila along the road. But if hindi nila masasolve yun, I don't think this will be reliable for future. Pwede siya kung city driving, but out of towns, I highly doubt it. Again, sobrang konti lang ng mga charging stations sa Pilipinas. So, that's that. Let's check this out naman sa growth forecast ng World Bank. Well, honestly, I believe in this. Kasi slow talaga ang economic growth ng Pilipinas. Dagdagan mo pa yung mga sahod na hindi nag-i-increase, mga bilihin na sobrang tataas na. Kasi it leads to stagnation. Mas maraming tao na hindi bibili, hindi magsi-circulate yung pera. Technically, magsi-circulate lang siya sa essentials. Bigas, pagkain, dilata. But the rest, I I believe na yung mga industries na yun would go down eventually.
To public works corruption and storm-related shocks. It now urges the Philippine government to double down on reforms. Jackie Pascual.
This is just my personal take. I highly doubt na magte-take action ng gobyerno dito. I have my own reasons. I just wouldn't want to say it on the channel, pero I really hardly doubt it. I doubt na gagawa sila ng paraan dyan.
Has this story.
The World Bank has trimmed its growth forecast for the Philippines this year to 5.1% from the previous 5.3%, below the government's target of 5.5 to 6.5%. This is driven by lower domestic investment, weak business confidence, and...
Yes, of course. Kasi honestly, ang issue ng market ng Pilipinas is, well, liquidity. Sobrang konti ng taong nag-i-invest sa Pilipinas. Sobrang konti ng retail specifically. Karamihan na nag-i-invest sa Pilipinas ay malalaking tao. Siguro nasa around like a couple % lang ang retail doon, which ranges a million below of investments. As a matter of fact, karamihan ng kumpanya dito is nagde-delist na. One good example is si Gokong Way's Robinsons Retail Holdings, si RRHI. Magli-legal tender sila ng 48 pesos 30 cents. They have said kasi they have been undervalued for the past like couple years. So they stated RRHI is set to go private following a 8.4 billion tender offer from JE Holdings. The retail giant requested a trading suspension on March 27, 2026 to finalize its exit from the Philippine Stock Exchange. So, yun siya. Oh, so mali ang info ko. Am I? Tell me guys if I'm wrong or not sa sinabi ko na undervalued sila or not, or if is this because of JE Holdings, which they are, I mean, they're intending to go private make tender offer. So they're gonna make a tender offer. I mean, that's within the company. I'm not even invested in this. Sa RCR ako invested. So, I'm hoping na hindi maapektuhan si RCR dito. Another thing. Ito pa. This is actually a news about companies leaving the Philippine Stock Exchange. So, leaving the PSE. Why companies think being public isn't worth it anymore. So, some people say that this is a great exit. So, basahin lang natin ng saglit. The Philippine Stock Exchange is getting smaller, which is true. This is because, again, lack of liquidity, lack of, it's over-regulation. Mahirap mag-launch or mag-go public ng stock sa Pilipinas kasi sobrang daming requirement. I believe there was one company na nag-try mag-apply sa Pilipinas, but eventually they just didn't push through with it kasi nga sobrang over-regulated ng Philippine Stock Exchange. So, going back, in just 3 years, a great exit of major companies from MPIC or Metro Pacific Investment Corporation to Eagle Cement Corporation has pulled more than 580 billion out of the public market. This exodus is moving faster than the exchange can replace it. Syempre kasi ang karaniwang listing ng stock sa Pilipinas, if I'm not mistaken, is like 4 a year. Probably 3 or 4 a year. Please correct me if I'm wrong in the comment section. And for every peso bought in by new initial or IPOs since 2023, nearly 2 pesos have vanished as companies decide that being public is no longer worth the cost, because it is not. Kasi nga, konti lang ang investors sa Pilipinas. Karamihan na nag-invest dito, large corporations. Retail isn't even in the question. Sobrang konti lang ng investors sa Pilipinas. Which is, in my case, I'm hoping na dumami pa siya. Sana marami pang mag-invest sa Philippine stock market. But with how things are going, again, I hope I'm wrong, but I hardly doubt mag-invest sila kasi honestly, mas maganda ang growth sa international markets. Even sa US Stock Exchange, US Stock Exchange is better, a lot better than Philippine Stock Exchange. So the number 4, the PSE, are heading in the wrong direction between 2023 and early 2026. 8 major firms opted to leave the local burst and citing persistent undervaluation and thin liquidity. Again, liquidity ang major problem ng Pilipinas. I think so as well. As a matter of fact, ito nga, the momentum continued 2024 SM Group's Prime Leisure Corp. I believe mag-release si SM ng SM REIT, which I am waiting. Si GCash din. But it looks like dinedelay nila yung IPO nila for some reason. Well, I'm hoping na mangyari na siya sa Pilipinas. Kaso, I believe GCash is thinking of doing international instead of local. Which is that's a very good plan. Kung ako nga naman si GCash. Kasi, honestly, ano ba mapapala nila sa Pilipinas? Then, impact to the retail investors. So, for small scale, the listing represents the best chance to exit stocks that suffer from persistent undervaluation. However, Ravelas emphasized that the key issue for minority shareholders remains fair value, as the exit price must reflect the company's true potential. Eh, again, that's one of the risks. Hindi natin alam kung kailan sila mag-exit. But while we are at it, of course, sulitin natin, i-maximize natin yung gains natin sa kanila. So, in this case, again, si Maynilad would be one of the biggest. I mean, starting from 2025. Ang entry niya in 3 years is valued at 10.46 billion, which is again pretty large. Large ang share niya sa overall market. I'm just wishing na again mas maraming liquidity kasi sa Pilipinas wala naman din tayong tech stock. Honestly, wala tayong tech plays. Ang pinaka safe, pinaka magagandang pag-investan sa Pilipinas is one, si REITs, uh, real estate investment trusts. So finance sector is second. Third, I believe, is more on industries like Jollibee, Pure Gold, and etc. Again, this is not a financial advice. Always do your own research. This is just my personal take on investing in the Philippines. And that's what I'm also doing. I'm focused on REITs, finance, and industrials. Like again, Maynilad, Jollibee. Meralco would be a good play. It's just overvalued si Meralco. And I think sooner or later, mau-overpower si Meralco ng mga major industry players pagdating sa energy sector. Example na lang yan, again, si Accent, si First Gen, si Aboitiz, which is why Meralco is going with Empower. So, last April 1st, itong rundown ng mga shares as of, again, April 1. This is from Land Bank Securities. So, there's a 5.33% si Ayala Land. I believe si Ayala Land, it's bumagsak recently. Thankfully, naka-recover na sila. BDO, isa pa to. I'm waiting for it to bounce. Si Jollibee, we're currently down with Jollibee. Maynilad is good kasi nakapasok ko dyan during IPO. 15 pesos. And sa sectors, sa financial, yung mga holdings companies, mining and oil, I only have SCC with that, and I'm exiting sooner or later then. Again, my plan is long term, which is why I'm exiting SCC. Pero I'll be keeping yung mother company nila, which is si DMCI. Ito pa. So sa cryptocurrency naman tayo. So let's watch this for a bit.
Adoption continues to grow, and the best leading indicator is the surveys. Whether you ask retail investors or institutional investors, do you plan to allocate more to this asset class in the future? The answer is yes. At some point, the bill for this war will come due, and the fiscal and monetary largesse in G7 will become dominant.
Yes, it's just the money cycle. So sooner or later kapag natapos ang gera, exit ang peras from gold, from other investment platforms, and they'll go into more riskier assets like Bitcoin. As of right now, I believe kakabili lang ng Bitmine ng another purchase ng Ethereum. Pero ako honestly, I don't like Ethereum per se. I'm more into Bitcoin, Sui, XRP, Solana, even though nagkaroon ng stress test si Solana recently. But again, Tom Lee is one of great investors sa buong mundo. So if you guys would like to go with his thesis, of course, feel free to purchase Ethereum. In my case, I wouldn't. I highly, kasi naabutan ko ang Ethereum ng $2,000 going up to 5K. if I'm not mistaken, 4.85 to 5K range. But it never went up. Again, I'm hoping I'm wrong, but my thesis is dun lang talaga magra-range ang Ethereum. Bitcoin, on the other hand, would probably be, I mean, this is just a fearless forecast, a tinfoil hat forecast. Pero by the year around 2028 to 2032, Bitcoin would probably be around $500,000 US. This is just me. Again, I'm probably wrong. If I'm right, it's good. If I'm wrong, well, still, I'm buying Bitcoin. That's one of my mainstays. And ito naman, ang pinaka-inaantay ng lahat sa Pilipinas. Presyo ng bilihin. Me as an average Pinoy investor, I'm also a low-income individual. Mababa lang po ang sahod ko as a BPO employee. So, kailangan talaga natin maghigpit ng sinturon, no? I'm hoping hindi ganun kataas yung magiging price increases. But, again, I highly doubt it. And this would
May
last probably a couple
sasalubong na big time na
weeks
taas
and
presyo
months.
ng LPG sa unang araw ng Abril. 20 piso kada kilo
Mataas.
ang ipatutupad ng isang kumpanya simula 1 minuto makalipas ang hating gabi mamaya. Ibig sabihin, 202 pesos ang dagdag presyo sa isang tangking may 11 kilogram na bigas.
So, ibig sabihin nun, kasi ang typical na presyo ng LPG is around 1.3, 1.4. So, nasa mga, ano na siya, 1.5 to 1.7 ang isang tangke. Sa Super Kalan naman, from previously 275 at max, 250 to 275, maglalaro siya ng around 400 pesos na. Which again, is ang kati niyan. Kaya kailangan talaga magtipid. Well, pag nagtipid naman tayo, essentially, again, babagal ang progress ng ekonomiya. Which is not good as well for investors, para sa mga businesses sa Pilipinas. So, we're hoping na we're not hoping essentially. Kasi most likely, hindi talaga magagawa ng action ng gobyerno to eh. I really hardly doubt it. But, well, wait and see. Again, let me know kung ano yung mga naiisip nyong paraan para magtipid. Ano bang mga investment strategies, no? Pwede nyo rin share sa akin kung ano yung mga portfolio nyo. Please do not hesitate to check out the links below sa video na to. Don't forget to like and subscribe na rin po. Please, libre lang naman po to. And thank you again for watching the video. Again, this is your average Pinoy investor. Have a good one. Ciao, ciao.